host of the Gridiron.
And welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? It's totally free of charge. But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, in the description box below, very top link takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,500 members in the group. It is doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I get internet access, I'm putting stuff in that group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, I mean, not everybody came out of Black Monday unscathed, but Schoen and Daboll, they did it. Apparently, they had a long talk. Mr. Mara was talking. It was like on Monday he came out, and Daboll came out, and then Schoen came out. So but they had a long talk on Friday, and so I don't know. I guess possibly maybe Daboll had an inkling maybe he'd be around after the Eagle game, regardless. Mr. Mara answered a bunch of questions and all that stuff and everything. He, the one thing is that, it was kind of interesting, because, I mean, some guys, some of these GMs, right? I mean, they just like Jerry Jones every week. They're talking every week. Just shut the fuck up. I mean, of course, everybody flocks to him because he's always good for something. You know what I mean? But, just... It's all that Jones is this, you know what I mean? So, and the guy's like 912 years old. So you don't know if he's, if he's telling the truth, if he knows what he's talking about, if he you know what I mean? You don't even know. But guys that do this all the time, when they do this, it doesn't really mean as much as what like Mr. Mara talks about. Now, a lot of people think Mr. Mara is the problem and he's old and he's out of touch with football and all that stuff and everything. But, one of the interesting things was, somebody asked him a question. I can't remember what it was, but, he said, one thing he did say was, I'm starting to run out of patience, So when he says something like that, it means a lot more than like, a Jerry Jones kind of thing, he just talks and talks. I mean, and, usually hear the owner, being available to the media and talking and stuff like that and everything about it, about the football game right after a football every week. You know what I mean? Mr. Mara only comes around so often to talk. Usually he kind of stays out of the limelight and everything. That's the GM and the coach and all that. They run the operations and everything, whatever, and he stays back. But, so they made it. One of the big things it seemed that really helped was one thing for Schoen and one thing for Daboll. Now, I mean, for Schoen, then go with Saquon and have him go to the Eagles and do what he did with Philadelphia. Just straight up a right square kick right in the cojones. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say the proper pronunciation for it because, but I mean, Mr. Mara had to feel that kick right square in the cojones. I mean, he's feeling that all season long. So every time he looks, looks at what the Eagles done, Saquon, 29 carries, 415 yards, 72 touchdowns every game. And not only that, but then of course, like, what's going on? I mean, we got Saquon and he's injured all the time, and he goes with Philadelphia, is 3,742 million carries, and he's fine. There's no problem. I mean, so that's. That really had to rub him, really friggin' had to rub him the wrong way. The one thing is that, Shane, he made a play for him. Didn't work out. But Shane kind of like had his, his values per each position. Obviously, the McKinney thing didn't work out well either. Of course, McKinney goes to Green Bay and he picks off 912 passes. That didn't help either. But Shane has his positional values. I know he offered Saquon something close to 13 or so, whatever. Saquon turned that down. That's about what he got from the Eagles. I don't know why he took it with the Eagles and he didn't take it with the Giants. Then after they turned that down, then they offered him something even lower, I think it was. But anyway, so that didn't work out too well for Shane. But bringing in Brian Burns did, right? We have a nice nucleus of players. One of the things that really helped Shane out was this draft class. As we're starting to see, there are some chinks in the armor to the 2022 and 2023 draft. Thankfully, he hit it out of the park with Malik. Now, hopefully that young man can stay healthy because, the Giants, you go back. Yep, can't go back to Amani Toomer because that man stay healthy. But if you go back to whatever, right? How many? Oh my God, how many wide receivers have we had? Star wide receivers have we had, right? That have been injured, and even go tight ends too. We've had a lot of tight ends get injured as well too. But he hit it out of the park with Malik. Now, as I said, if Malik can stay healthy. Right, that young man's going to be, he's a rich man now, but he's going to be a very rich man if he stays, regardless if he stays around with the Giants or not. But, he hit it out of the park with him. He hit it out of the park really with this draft class. The problem was with this draft class is that, even Malik played, he only missed 2 games, but we've got to do something with these injuries. It's just absolutely unbelievable. But Malik had, I lost count how many different injuries that guy had, how many times he was on the injury report for different injuries. He only missed a couple games. But Theo Johnson, I missed a bunch of time. Thankfully, Tracy was okay. But Newman and Phillips both missed some time as well, too. But whether they missed time or not, the top 5 picks, really good picks. Newman looks like he's a keeper, right, for safety. Phillips, he had the injury bug. We're going to talk about Newman. He got surgery, but when Phillips was on the field, he was big. Theo Johnson really seemed to be coming on. Unfortunately, then, of course, shockingly, he got injured. But, he was really coming on. I think he only had 29 receptions, but you'll notice, I think after the first 4 games, I think he had like 3 receptions or something. He didn't have much. But the last bunch of games, he was really starting to come on. Getting like 3-4 receptions a game. Yeah, but even 4 receptions a game, right? Of course, now we're up to a 17-game schedule. So 4 catches a game at 7, it would be 68 receptions. That wouldn't be bad, And I said, and Tracy, right? Because, let's not forget what Tracy and Newman did, right? It's only been done, 2 other times. One was in the AFL in 1960. The other one was in the NFL in 2006, right? You had 2 rookies came in, right? And surpassed 1,000 yards. As I said, the first time was in 1960 with the AFL. However, they only played 14 games. And you'd be hard-pressed to know any of the quarterbacks on that roster. The 1960 Dallas Texans, who in 63 became the Kansas City Chiefs. You'd be hard pressed. So but there was 2 running backs in 1960, the Dallas Texans, that did it. But in 2006, when the Saints did it with Marcus Colston and Reggie Bush did it, they had some guy by the name of Drew Brees throwing him the ball. I'm not a big Drew Brees fan, but I was a future Hall of Famer, right? Throwing the football. Okay, so that, of course, that helped. I mean, you look at what happened with Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy, and they both did it in 16 games too. They didn't need the 17 game. They both did it in 16 games. Okay, so basically they tied what Colston and Reggie Bush did. But I mean, if you look what Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy did, they did it obviously in 16 games, but they did it with Boyle, Daniel Jones, Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan, Drew Lock. They did it with 4 different quarterbacks. That not like the one that the Saints had, a future Hall of Famer in 2006, right? So very, very impressive. But I mean, I think that really helped Shane, because you start looking at his first 3. His first 3 number 1 picks, his first 2 draft classes. But you're looking at Evan Neal, and you're looking at Kayvon. Now Kayvon, has done a nice job. Nice, pick number 5. We kind of hoping he'd be just maybe a little bit better. Yeah, I think so. But he nice. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I'm sure that derailed him a little bit this season. Didn't have a phenomenal season. He certainly came down as far as sacks from last season. Of course, the final one, a bunch of games when he was playing, Sexy Dexy wasn't in there. That didn't help him at all. But, nice first-round pick. But Evan Neal and then Banks. Trading up, I mean, like what 1 spot or so to get Banks, right? 1 or 2 spots, whatever it was, to get Banks. But we're kind of noticing maybe he's not a first-round pick. There is talent there, but I'm not sure if he's going to be their future number 1 going forward. So there were certainly some chinks in the armor in the first couple draft classes. But with Shane, he really did a good job this year. Now they need to continue doing that. Also, Mara was talking about, he said, like the analytics and stuff or whatever that they have, or maybe with the scouting and everything. He said it's like the best he's ever seen, what they have right now. Now maybe the proof is in the pudding there. This latest draft class that they had. If they can do that again, and let's not forget they only had 6 picks last year. And let's not forget about Musa, right? 6-rounder, plays on special teams. If you put him in there, right? I mean, the guy makes tackles too. Now, of course, he's not Ray Lewis. He's not Harry Carson. He's not Dick Butkus. I can go on and on and on with middle linebackers who he's not. But, he makes tackles. He's a 6-rounder. He stayed relatively healthy. I'm trying to think if he missed anything. He might have missed a little bit of time, but hardly any. But, special teamer. He played, right? And he made tackles. Guys like that you need on your team. You need those late-round picks to be successful. You need those late-round picks because they're cheap, right? Hopefully, as I said, hopefully if you can stay healthy, after his, if his 4 years are up, hopefully maybe we can bring him back. I mean, you bring him back for maybe a couple $1 million a year or something, right? You need those. You can't pay everybody $35 million a year. Can't happen, right? You need those cheap guys. So, I mean, he had a very good draft class this year. Now, we need to do that again. I think I was getting ready to say was that this year coming up, right? As I said, we had 6 last year. This year coming up with, might possibly, I think there's a Ben Bredesen, we might get a 4th-round compensatory pick, right? So we got a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, possibly 2 fourths. So, we have the ammo to do some more damage now, right? I mean, you got what did he draft? Shane, right? Malik Neighbors, starter. Newman, starter. Phillips, starter. Theo Johnson, starter now. I mean, you would have thought they'd had Bellinger in there, right? He seemed to. Some of the stuff is just kind of. I mean, I've scratched my head so much. Obviously, there's not much left there to scratch, right? It's all falling out. Some of the guys, it's kind of like, how are these guys participants, right? And then they're just like falling off. Like Hodgins, he went with the 49ers. Remember, he was such an intricate part or whatever in that playoff run and all that. Now it's like he's a forgotten man. Same thing with Bellinger. 2 years his rookie season, didn't do too bad. Now he's almost like a forgotten man. But anyway, Theo Johnson, starter. Tyrone Tracy, starter. Right. So he drafted 5 starters. Right. We do have a very young team. The draft class, I don't know if they said it exactly, but I'm sure this draft class, as far as amount of snaps that this draft class has had, is got to be up there as far as other draft classes. And we only had the 6 picks, but the amount of snaps that these players had is, as far as other teams, has got to be up there. The only thing that would derail that a little bit would be the fact that someone like Theo, he missed, I forgot how many games he wound up missing, but he would have had a lot more snaps if he was healthy. Newman would have had more snaps if he was healthy. Phillips would have had, but he missed some time. So we're a very young team, and you're gonna have some bumps and bruises going along. I said, but the one thing we got to. I can't even talk about it. These injuries, just absolutely killing you. Absolutely killing you. It doesn't matter who the coach is. It does matter if they. But if when you're on your 10th starting offensive line, nobody brings it. None of these guys bring this stuff up. We got to do better. But we need to stay healthy. You can't be on your 4th quarterback. I don't know of any. If we go back over all the Super Bowls, there's no team, okay, that's like maybe on their 4th quarterback that was in the Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl. They're 4th, not a backup quarterback like Nick Foles with the Eagles or Jeff Hostetler with the Giants. Like the 4th quarterback coming at you 3-day. Ain't none. I got news for you. 10 starting offensive line. I don't know as far as going back. That's very, very difficult. Okay. I said all these injuries, we've had almost 30 guys got put on IR. These injuries are just killers, straight up killers. Yeah. With Daboll, right, the one thing that really helped him, I'm probably going to do a video on this maybe next time, would be his success year 1. That really, really helped them, because if you look, we're going backwards, right? 9-7-1, 6-11, 3-14. We're going backwards, right? But Mara brought this up also as well. So is that with Daboll, being the coach of the year, taking basically almost, I don't want to say total trash, but a lot of trash. And year 1, taking us 9-7-1. Right? That coach is still there, right? Went to 9-7-1. We went to the playoffs, right? With a cash strapped team. We couldn't even keep James Bradbury because Gettleman up so badly. We couldn't even keep James Bradbury. And of course, right, once again, he goes to the land where there's no salary cap, right? James Bradbury going to Eagles saying, "Oh, we'll take you. We ain't got no salary cap. Ain't no salary cap in Philly. We'll sign you." Right? Put 312 void years on the end of your contract, right? So basically we'll pay you whatever you pay them, 10, 15 million a year, but actually it's only about 3 million a year because we're paying you over such a long period of time. Right, that we're not really paying you that much. It's doing the same thing with Saquon, they're doing the same thing with Jalen Hurts, doing the same thing with Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson, AJ Brown, all the big stars. right? They're adding on nothing but a bunch of void years. So, but I said we couldn't even keep James Bradbury's first year because we didn't have the money. Had to let him go. Of course, the Eagles snatched him up. Had a hard time keeping Saquon. Of course, the Eagles snatched him up, right? But took that team 9-7-1 to the playoffs. We won a playoff. There was a lot of excitement there. A lot of excitement. Obviously, going forward, you expect 9-7-1. You figure, another year maybe, we add through the drafts, right? You get maybe a little bit more money to spend in free agency, meaning in 2023. We were 9-7-1. Hopefully, we at least get 10 wins. But we had a lot of injuries. Our third string quarterback, also that too. Let's not forget that, right? But our third string quarterback won us 3 football games. Right? I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. Right? So we had with Tyrod Taylor, Tommy Chicken, Carla Parmesan, and Daniel Jones. I mean, they all got injured. Tyrod Taylor would come in, he was getting injured. I would say Daniel Jones got nailed 2 times in 2023, So, so Daboll did win us with that. There's another reason, possibly, maybe, that I'm going to talk about a little down the road here, what Mr. Mara was talking about. Hold on, I got to move my legs. Buddy Randy's at my feet. It's better. I got to move my legs. I'm going to talk about Mr. Mara was talking about something, a little deficiency we had this year that he was not very happy about. So I'm going to talk about that. But, the thing is, I said with Daboll, right, if you go back over all the Giants coaches, any of them been here for any length of time, they've always had success early on. I mean, there's been no Giant coach, right, who started off, I'm going to probably do another video on this as well, too, right, and talk about each individual coach. But there's no coach that the Giants have had that have been around more than by their third season, they've had success, meaning going to the playoffs. There's been no Giant coach that's come in year 1 and stunk. Year 2 is stunk. Year 3 is stunk, and been around for year 4. They've all had success early on. To maintain, to be obviously to keep, to not get fired. And I said, that was. I don't want to say a magical season, 2022, but they gave us hope. Got a new coach coming in. I mean, look what he did with Daniel Jones. Of course, Saquon was here, and all that. Look what we did. We had won a lot of close games. But, we were finding ways to win those close games. Now we're finding ways to lose almost every close game. But that coach is still here. So they made it. Interesting to see, because Mr. Mara said he was running out of patience, what starts happening next season. Because, if just say they draft their, let's go crazy. Say they take Jalen Milroe in the 2nd round, right? That's hopefully the quarterback of the future. You're not drafting a quarterback in the 2nd round to be a backup. Okay. It's going to be a good, solid NFL backup for years to come. That's why we took him in it now. You're taking Milroe or something. You have visions upon this guy being your starter, right? So if they bring him in, right, to be the quarterback of the future, does that give him a 2nd season, with him? Interesting. Or did the Giants just take that bridge quarterback and, I don't know, if something crazy goes, whatever, say somehow Darnold comes here and they sign him to a 3-year deal. Does that give him the Schoen and Daboll another year or 2 or a couple years? So it could be interesting to see. But if they do start off 1-6 or 1-7, I don't know. The writing might be on the wall. Does Daboll even make it through the season? We'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, Schoen and Daboll are back again. I said one thing, we do have some money to spend. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But if they can at least, it's tough to keep knocking it out of the park year in year out in the draft. But I mean, if they can do as well in this upcoming draft as they did last year, that would be huge. And if they can add another 4 or 5 pieces to the puzzle, some more young studs, that would really, really help.